everybody, this is Shiva from the Pinnacle Path, and if you're wondering why I'm dressed this way, it's because I am going to review the Sailor Moon Tarot deck that was recently released and talk about some really cool, exciting crystals that I have in my shop. So, Sailor Moon has been a really influential part of my life, probably since I was about 8 or 9 years old. I remember as a kid being totally obsessed with the show, and I think it gave me my interest in magic and crystals and everything. I thought it was super empowering, and it's still to this day something that I find super inspirational and beautiful, and I just love it so much. So when I found out about the Sailor Moon Tarot deck, I was so excited and had to get my hands on it. Today I am dressed like Black Lady, who is from the Sailor Moon R series and is the evil version of Chibiusa. I've always really loved this character, and I am DJing tonight at City Club, which is one of the longest continuously running goth clubs probably in the world, and it's like totally a teenage dream of mine to be able to DJ there, and then to throw a Sailor Moon party is super, super exciting. So I'm all dressed up for that today, and I've got my sidekick with me right here. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Sailor Moon deck. So this deck was produced for Sailor Moon Crystal, which is the new series that recently was released, a remake of the original that came out in the 90s. This says it's Sailor Moon Crystal Season 3, and it's all in Japanese on the back. This is a pretty difficult deck to find. It is a bit expensive, but it is really cool. So I'm going to open it up here. The first thing to note about this deck is that it only contains the major arcana. So the major arcana is 22 cards. These cards deal with big life changes when they're pulled up in a reading. They deal with life lessons. I like to ground a lot of my readings with one of these cards. So it's not the full deck. So it's only a fraction of them, but each of the cards is associated with a different Sailor Scout, which is awesome. The cards are also a bit difficult to handle. They're very large. I use a couple of larger decks, but this is a very interestingly rectangular shaped deck that I've never dealt with before. This is great. This is Death. I don't know if I agree necessarily with some of the choices they've made for the associations with the major arcana cards, but I think I have to do some more meditating on it. For instance, the Tower is Mars. You know, Sailor Mars was very fiery, hot, airy symbol. She did have a hot temper and would burn things down, so maybe that is a good good comparison. Let's see, we've got, this is cool. The star has all of the classic Sailor Moon Scouts, which is excellent. Let's see. I guess this makes sense. You know, Temperance, Sailor Pluto, she always seemed to be pretty rational, even-keeled and mannered, and very wise. So I could definitely see that relationship. The Moon, of course, Sailor Moon. The Magician, Sailor Mercury. Oh, and they've got Sailor Moon as the High Priestess. Let's see. Venus as the Empress. This is interesting. So they've got like double cards too. They've also got Mars as the Chariot, which I can see because, again, being fast moving, it's very smart, hot tempered, it makes sense. One of the tricks that you can use when you're starting to learn tarot is to associate each of the cards with a different person or a character in your life. So I think that this deck would be very helpful for those of you who are just new to tarot or trying to get some sort of deeper understanding with it, because I think you could see some connections with some of your favorite characters if you do enjoy Sailor Moon. So I do think it can be really useful for newer tarot students and people who are just getting into it, especially those who are Sailor Moon fans. You could definitely find some deeper meaning, and that would hopefully help associate the traditional meanings of the cards with your understanding. So all in all, I really like this deck. It is quite different, but I'm a big fan. I love Sailor Moon, so I couldn't wait to buy these. I'm also going to be offering these in my shop in Birmingham, Michigan. I don't think there's any other shop around that carries these. So, you know, if you're interested in getting your hands on some, pop by. I'm also going to be putting up a Sailor Moon tarot reading in my shop using these cards. So if you're interested in getting a reading using the Sailor Moon deck, I will offer that within the next week as well, and I'll put a link down at the bottom of the screen so that you can see that. Yep, so totally recommended. I love it. It's a bit expensive, especially considering it only has the major arcana, but I think it's a great collector's item, and I think it can be great for those of you who like Sailor Moon and want to learn tarot. All right, the second thing I wanted to talk about were some humongous crystals that I'm going to be offering in my shop within the next day or two. I'll also put links in the bottom for those. I'm going to put some pictures in the ads for them, but I just wanted to show you how freaking big these things are. Some of these crystals are between like 2 and 3 pounds or more. So this is just your classic quartz. It's massive. It's like as big as my head is, but this is a really beautiful piece. It has some just some like natural imperfections, but that's something I really like. The first of these that I bought, I actually kept for myself in my shop because I like them so much, but I want to offer these up as well. I know it's a bit hard to find these kind of crystals. So this is my latest obsession. These black crystals, also very Sailor Moon, very Black Lady. I love these. I've got one in my shop as well. It's just gorgeous. I don't know, I'm super drawn to it. So this will be up in the shop. I think this is over 2 pounds. Then I've got some smaller baby, some labradorite, which is great. This massive rainbow fluorite, which is absolutely huge. See how thick that is? That'll be up in the shop. This I might keep because I haven't actually seen a lapis this large before, and lapis is one of my favorite stones associated with gods and goddesses, royalty. This is like my power stone. I might keep this one, but there might be a chance it'll be up in my shop too. This is huge. This is a very expensive stone typically. It's difficult to find, and it's really gorgeous. This may be the biggest crystal I've got. This is a rose quartz. This is the first crystal I ever started working with. It's a light pink color. I used this when I started doing work around self-love and healing. I found it to be very helpful, so this is a beauty as well. Then I've got a smaller counterpart too. So I hope you enjoyed the review of the Sailor Moon Tarot deck and taking a look at the crystals I've got here. I will be back with you in a couple of days with your tarot card of the week. Please subscribe, tune in. I've got a lot more fun videos to cover. If you have any questions or suggestions or things you want me to check out, let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon. Bye!